stuck off the realness, realness. Got you stuck off the realness, realness.
Tamale right there. Had us old breakfast tamale right there, man. Good morning, Bushwick.
Tamales first thing in the morning.
Woo! Get it first live.
Of course, 219 Central Avenue.
Bushwick, Brooklyn, 11221. You know where we are.
Got a nice little soundtrack playing in the back.
Monday, March
Is
12th.
that Spotify?
I don't know, man, but they just had the Super 80s jam going, man. I told you, man. I felt like I was in that old school nostalgia 80s movie, waiting for the right moment to make the move. Hey now, hey now.
Yeah, that spice is still, and I only took one bite.
It's lingering, man, but that was delicious.
It's a nice,
That's good tamale over there, man. Woo.
and you went all the way to Texas to learn that recipe, right?
bring it.
To learn how to make it.
To refresh
So
it.
you grew up in Texas.
He went to go refresh the recipe, man.
You know it's nice and spicy when you gotta do.
Yeah. That's good old spice right there, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the iced coffee today.
The breakfast of champions.
I'm
You want iced coffee today? You need iced coffee?
I'm gonna need something a little different. I can't have a hot beverage after eating a tamale.
Ooh, no hot caffeinated beverage for you today? Gotta go iced caffeinated?
Ice caffeinated.
Still caffeinated.
Still
Just iced.
caffeinated. But I gotta take it easy on my stomach today.
Yes. But while we have you on air, man, it is a somber one, but happy belated birthday. I did call you pretty early Saturday. I just got in from work. Yesterday was 32 for you, right, man?
Yes, sir.
If you want to talk about it, go ahead, man, because I know it's not the...
I mean,
Yeah,
applause for the birthday.
Yeah, man, applause for the birthday. Happy birthday, man. You only turned 32 once, man.
Yeah. I mean, you already know the situation, so
Yes.
it wasn't a good birthday. I actually posted something on Instagram, pretty much telling people to don't wish me happy birthday, just donate to the campaign. And people still hit me up. Nook hit me up. I mean, it's 32, man. I'm hoping 33 is gonna be a lot better, not just for me, but for my family as well. But I honestly spent the entire day playing video games and working on goodmorningbushwick.com, soon to be firstlife.us.
Yes, man.
I tried to stay busy with work, so
That's good, man.
I watched a few movies. I didn't watch the one that you wanted
See,
me to watch.
what movies did you watch before we get into that? What movies did you watch if you didn't watch that?
I ended up watching Forrest Gump.
Oh, I do believe we spoke about this. You know, that's a feel good movie. So you know, that's one of those.
No. I said I was going to talk about this, but I need to talk about this because I think when you said that it's a feel good movie, I don't think it is. And there was a lot of things that I was noticing in that movie that
Like, let's discuss it. I know
Jenny dragged him through the mud.
Jenny
the
treated
entire
him
movie.
like dirt. Jenny abused Forrest.
It wasn't until she was like on her deathbed that she actually
Yeah, it's not,
married
you
him.
know, but I mean, outside of that, what Forrest achieved, that I want to say, I want to say this politically correct. I want to say not
PC.
all the way, but a very limited mental capacity. I don't want to say very limited, but they did make it pretty clear he didn't have the mental capacity like in that early film. Like early when the doctor's like, this is normal, kids. Your son's down here. Like, he
But
wasn't
even-
really
even
what's called,
so, like,
you want to consider bright, but he did a lot. Had some pretty good friendships, became I guess at this point, if we're going to continue forward with the money he had at that era, the stock in Apple, at that point, I'm looking at my collar kind of ruffled there. If you want to look at the stock he had in Apple, man, Forrest is like a multi-billionaire at this point in life. So
That's what I'm
is it
saying.
really that terrible a life for Forrest? His son loved him. You know, he had good friends. Look at what he did for Lieutenant Dan. Eventually, Lieutenant Dan came around and was like, "Thank you, Forrest."
But these are the things that I noticed is that when you talk about, and as you mentioned, someone with limited mental capacity, they don't normally accomplish all of those things that he accomplished. He got, gold medals from the military. He was a millionaire. He had stocks that blew up.
He was
owned a fishing company.
He was a football superstar.
football superstar.
I guess if we want to be real, like he owns Bubba Gump Shrimp. The actual restaurants.
But all she did was tour with a bunch of other hippies and was just doing blow and doing all this other crazy stuff and it wasn't until she actually was gonna jump off of the balcony that she actually started crying and went crawling back to forest.
That wasn't is that Freebird? That's Freebird that starts playing right there, right?
I think so. Yeah. And then they show her walking up to the house. And even then, he asked her to marry him on the staircase of the house, and she said no.
I mean, but could we at least be kind of fair to Jenny that Jenny knew her life was too crazy and she didn't want to put Forrest through some pretty messed up stuff?
She also wrote to him again after she had his baby. She introduced him to his already born baby, and then told him that she was terminally ill, and then asked him to marry her. If that's not a definition of a scumbag, bro, like that was a very scumbag movie.
I'm not gonna. You can't call it a scumbag movie, man.
It is a scumbag
That's one of the
movie.
great American films.
It is, but it's also the tale of the things that
No.
some people actually go through.
What some people do, man. And I feel, but that's the thing. Forrest overcomes, man. It's still you're still looking at Forrest Gump. Look at what he does. Runs across the country, helps to come up with the smiley face idea. You know what I'm saying? Brought Lieutenant Dan back from the edge. Still gave half of his company to Bubba's mama. So Bubba's mama ain't have to serve nobody anymore, and Bubba's family was good after that. And everybody always asked him, what they always ask him, you stupid or something? Mama always says stupid is as stupid does.
And he wasn't stupid.
He wasn't.
He was not stupid.
Society would want to classify him as that, but no, Forrest wasn't. And he even told Jenny, I may not be a smart man, Jenny, but I do know what love is.
So,
Forrest
you
knows what's up.
You have a fresh recollection of the script.
I love that movie. That's one of the movies I love, man. But
it was just I didn't see how it was a heartfult tale.
I don't know, man. It
wasn't.
depends on the eyes that look at it.
It was an unfortunate
I get
tale.
that take on it. I get that take on it. I definitely do, 100%.
And then on top of that, he buried her body under the tree they used to swing on.
Yeah. He loved her. I mean, Forrest was in love with Jenny. Forrest loved Jenny, and I mean, you can see, he demolished her dad's the house where she, went through all that abuse and stuff. And you have to take that into effect, what that does to someone psychologically as a kid like that, and what it does to you as an adult growing up. So,
That's why he bulldozed her dad's house after she passed away.
It's
just to get rid of it.
I don't think we could put it all on Jenny, man. Forrest wanted to save Jenny, but Jenny didn't want to be saved yet.
Don't save her. She don't want to be saved.
I wasn't going to go there. I wasn't going to go there. But since we are, she don't want to be saved.
She don't want to be saved, man.
She didn't want, what? She wanted to live her life. But I guess,
movie.
man, it depends on how you look at it, man. But still one of the great movies. I love that movie.
So something that we have to point out that's a little different from this show is that we have a new member. We have this GoPro Hero 5 that's right in front of us.
Yes.
This beautiful camera. This brings
nice
so much.
angle.
It brings so much light to the background. You can actually see all the beautiful colors on the wall.
Yeah.
So this
You
fine
can make out those
photographs.
pictures pretty vividly.
So
I feel
shout
like
out
that's
to
pretty
GoPro.
clear behind us. Yes, man. It's
You ever
pretty
seen
good.
those GoPro clips when they jump off the cliff?
Mm-hmm. I've seen the ones like when they're snowboarding or ski. You see the one of the dudes skiing down the trail in the middle of the night?
Nah.
Woo! I gotta find that for you when we get off air. That is crazy.
You
Like
gotta
he's
be-
like
you
in
gotta
one
be a real
and one of
lunatic.
those double black diamonds. Like you know what those are? Like the super extreme death trails. Like he's up there like in some ridges and like it's crazy.
I thought the people that jumped off with the bird suits were nuts.
Nah, man, you have to see this. You have to see this. And it's at night. But did you watch any other movies this weekend other than Forrest Gump?
I mean, Brenna had some stuff playing, but it was background noise, bro. It was just it
Fair enough.
came back to that classic King Roach song, put the bottle down.
Yeah.
It was one of those.
Hey man, shit happens, man.
But I did make the decision over the weekend to start recording music again.
That's cool. That's good.
I think one thing that I kind of gave up on because of the series of events that took place with previous industry people, it discouraged me so much. But then looking at some of the messages that I was getting, particularly the one that I showed you the other day, it just showed that people were watching.
You know what we gotta do? We gotta start working on that Mr. Zoe Taylor mixtape.
We've been talking about that mixtape for about 15
Son.
years.
Weren't people talking about Chinese democracy for 15 years? Only I ain't gonna have
20.
no leaks. I ain't
20,
gonna
but
have
they
no
leaked
leaks.
it.
It's gonna be the hottest thing in the streets, and you know, I'm telling you, we're gonna be on. So we about to we gonna kill it. Live bands. We're gonna have an orchestra one time. It's gonna I got crazy ideas in my head. Yo, ask Drew. Drew has to suffer through it when we on the phone. You think you get freestyles when we walk in? Try a 2-hour phone call while I'm sitting there playing the game.
You know who has brilliant marketing as artists, and I'm noticing it more and more, is the well-dressed villains, man.
Yeah.
The stuff that they put out, like all the flyers, and what they do is they cut the pictures up, so when they post them up, it becomes one big collage on the IG.
It's dope. The picture's dope. I didn't notice that. That I gotta check out. But
Yeah,
I've seen like the way.
They do the
And
collage.
can we discuss this while we're on IG? And before I want to talk about the movie I watched, which I told you guys I was gonna watch.
Spoiler alert.
Yes, but
Don't give too
can
much
we,
away.
can we just get this thing like be in chronological order already? Like why
the Instagram?
why can Instagram not be in chronological order? Like what's the beef with that?
I thought it was for a while.
It
and then
was.
it's
I
once
feel
you
like
do the
it was in the
updates.
beginning. In the beginning, I feel like it was originally, and then just now it's like
I think they're putting like more trending posts on top.
I don't
for
know.
whatever the reason is.
I don't know, whatever it is, man.
But then there's some posts that they'll put on the top from like 5 days ago that
5,
have
6.
no likes.
That's why I like with some of the pages I told you I unfollow. It's like they would dominate my timeline. It's like, yo, like I get this has a lot of likes,
I
but when you
unfollowed
have
it too.
I couldn't deal with
had
it.
to.
I couldn't deal with it.
I had to unfollow that account.
It was too much, man. Not
It's
even gonna
poison for the
dignify you.
mind.
It is. But
That ruin. It's because
when it's when you know what it's trying to be spinned or based off of, you know what it essentially,
it's a complete rip.
it is.
They practically took the logo. I was about to say the name of it. They practically took the logo and just added their word.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and just recreated the brand for
Yes.
people of another language.
Yes, sir. And
I know Q.
I don't know if
is
you-
grave.
how much is there any legal, like there's no legal recourse for that, really?
I don't think so. I
'Cause
think they changed the name.
Completely
enough.
different enough. Even if it's that derivative, it's gonna stink. So I mean, it's crazy. But
Let's talk about the movie.
the movie, man, what's been called in recent memory the scariest movie in recent memory, scariest movie of all time by some places. This new Netflix film,
There
about
you
to
go.
get some cowbell. We got some cowbell
Over here trying to
coming.
Figure out what he's
It
doing.
looks like somebody wants some cowbell. We got some
Got
cowbell.
cowbell
You
this
can't give them
morning.
cowbell if you're not. If you give them cowbell, you gotta give them cowbell away.
I'm not gonna. They're still eating breakfast. still breakfast time.
Oh man.
This is more towards 11.
But we watched. I watched it, Veronica. And I want to say it's a good film. That's the first thing I'm gonna say. It's a good film. Definitely. I mean, maybe I went into it with really high expectations. I think had it have just been called like a very underrated scary film, I would have been more intrigued with it. It's a great premise, good acting. I told you like why I want you to watch it, and we discussed
I'm
this
still gonna
already.
watch it. I'm still gonna watch
It's a good film. Overall, it's a good film.
it.
Not as
did
scary
the
as
reviews kind of overhype it.
overhyped it a lot. There are a lot of jump moments. Like the first moment, and what it is it doesn't really warm up. Like you know how like let's take the Paranormal Activities, how it gives you night 1, night 3 before it gets to like night whatever 21, 27, 17, whatever where it goes bad. Like they give you the progression of events. Like this is like 2-3 nights worth of, and then like it's game time. But like from the jump, like
I saw the first scene.
the first scene, the way it opens, that's the end. That it picks up at the end. How it gets to that though, is crazy. Like all those little weird markings, these little crowns on the wall. Pay attention to that when it gets to that in the movie. I don't want to destroy it for you, but the way that goes south and what she's trying to do, and like the way her friends it's nuts.
Was it heavily Ouija based?
It was heavy Ouija based. It was heavily occult based, man. Like a lot of, remember what you talked about, like not knowing how to respect it, like not closing the board, not knowing what you're doing, like, and then like that has
Can't
some
play with the
a
spirits.
whole nother string of events like perspire because they don't take care of business the way they should, and they disrespect the board early, and it just gets her like
As it usually happens when you buy it from Toys R Us.
it was crazy. It was.
Can't believe Toys R Us actually stocks that.
They sell that, but I mean, it's not how long is Toys R Us gonna be in business still. They're talking they might be done by the end of the week.
Yeah, but Amazon is just gonna pick up all the inventory.
Somebody's gonna pick it all up.
That's one thing you should not be able to buy in a store is a damn Ouija board. What's going on,
it's
brother?
not it's not a toy or game, man. But I'm pretty sure it does say that in some sort of very small lettering. But
This is not a game. Even
but
though you
like
just
I've
bought
been
it.
I've said today I want to I said today that I was saying to myself, well, not today, but today I was gonna do it. I want to research the actual truth behind it because apparently, like, that's like a real. That's not her name, but the police report, like they, like were
For
corroborated, like that's a corroborated, like off of a police report, like what they learned from it.
So if you guys have Netflix, you have to check this movie out to
It's
understand
a
what
good
it's talking
movie.
about.
It's a good movie. It's a Spanish film, from Spain.
It is?
Yeah. So it's subtitled, but I have no beef with subtitles. I even like watching an English movie with subtitles sometimes. TV shows I like with subtitles, because sometimes you miss stuff. Like if somebody says something at the same time, you can't make them both out. So.
But I make the mistake of doing that during like stand-up comedy, so I read the punchline before he says it,
Nah.
and it kind of ruins it.
Nah. See, can't do that.
But this is one of those days that we have an in-studio guest.
Yes, we do, man. And we're about to talk some.
We had him briefly on the show last week.
Yeah, we had him on for about
Via
10
cell
minutes.
phone.
Yes. Via Danny's cell phone on speaker. But
And then Danny was just looking at us like, oh man.
Yep.
When he comes on the show, I told you we might go over today.
Yeah. Might roll a little bit over, but it'll all be for a good cause.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, sir. Definitely. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break and then have the man on himself with us, Chris Day, and we're gonna
Mr.
talk some
Famous
stuff,
name.
man. You guys might hear some inconvenient truths, but you need to hear them. So we'll be right back after this commercial break.
This coffee is delicious.
No, I don't really drink coffee. This is what you come out with. This coffee's an empty cup. That's what you come out the gate with on me, man.
I mean, it is coffee for music people. And
Music for coffee people.
A good coffee will wake you the fuck up in the morning. Remember,
You know what
everything-
else will wake you up in the morning? Good Morning Bushwick, hosted by us two, Bud and
Bud and
Roach.
Roach.
I mean, here at First Live.
Where is First Live?
Bushwick, baby. You're
Take-
killing me, bro. You're killing me right now. Like
Where
First
are we
Live
from?
Bushwick. We're from Bushwick. We are Bushwick.
Pick up your damn cup and pretend you're drinking the coffee.
Here
Do
at
it
First Live
again. No,
Bushwick.
Do it again. Do it again.
You know what else will wake you up in the morning? Good Morning Bushwick.
Good morning.
right now, we cutting a promo or we live?
No. Where can people go to find out what's happening in Bushwick?
BudandRoach.com and
And-
FirstLive.us.
This coffee's delicious.
Yes, it most certainly is.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen.
We're back and we're alive.
And I told you this on the phone. I'm going to tell you again face to face. You have a famous name. It's Chris Day.
Yes.
Yeah, trying to keep that name famous for my kids. And my wife, that's about it right now.
I think that's the goal, though. You look at somebody like Bob Marley. I don't want to put his business out there, but he is dead. So, all his kids, all of the Marley kids make $40,000 a month off of the Marley estate just because of the legacy that Bob Marley left behind. So that's what I'm working towards.
Yeah, hear that, kids? That will not be your future.
That's a good one. But we have you on, man. And before we get all the way into it, man, you want to explain for the people that didn't get to hear last week, what did you do before we go all the way into it?
I work in commercial waste and recycling and in Plano, Texas, a town of almost 280,000 people. We've changed so much over the last almost 40 years. In 1970, Plano was about 17,000 people. So going from 17,000 to 280, the city's gone through lots of changes. So diverting stuff from the landfill, repurposing, recycling, composting, whatever it takes. And it's a big challenge for us given the amount of change over those last 37 years.
What is repurposing?
Taking something that still has a usable life, and like Danny's tables, and
Yeah.
So like
a-
sanding down,
Danny
repainting?
repurposed
Yeah.
that base over there that weighs like 150 pounds.
Yeah.
Someone threw it out on the sidewalk, and he took it, and it's better than the bases he paid $60 for.
Yeah. That's repurposed.
So it's like just finding new
Yeah.
uses for
New,
old
new
things.
uses for old things that.
Oh, the ones on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I often give Danny my old pants because I have bigger legs, and he has kind of little skinny chicken legs. So
I'm gonna wrap the
Yeah.
couch with it. Put a brand new aesthetics. So is that like is that community oriented? Are a bunch of people like working together to actually repurpose and recycle, or is this just like a company going around trying to encourage the community to do this?
well, it sounds cliche, but it does take a village. It takes the whole community to do its part, and I think the challenge we're facing is we've had a curbside recycling program for almost 20 years, an automated recycling program. So you put your stuff in your cart, city comes by and picks it up, and that recycling rate's been pretty flat, been mid to high 30s for 18 years, and our contamination rate now is almost 40%. So people really haven't stepped up. They're not really doing their part. So we have to do a better job as a city of making sure that what you put out on the curb is the right thing in the bag. I'm pretty sure in New York City they don't want to pick up your trash, right? If it's in clear bags and recycling, do they enforce that here?
For private
Some places.
residences, man, you do it. Didn't you have to recycle on Hart Street, right?
On Hart Street,
You
when
had
we
to
lived
sort
a few
it.
blocks away, we had to do that. But in
I
the
mean,
projects that
where we
grew up in-
live, they sort through it. They have their own places on site that deal with it. But they do encourage you to try to like sort what you can.
Yeah.
Like, and we do. We try to. We have separate bags for plastics, and we don't really separate metals and stuff. We just put what goes in there, and then they'll sort it. But we do keep the recycling in a separate bag.
And that's what's amazing is that we've made it so easy. We put all the onus on the processing side. And we don't do what they do in California is put paper here, cartons, everything's separated, which gives you a
Yeah.
cleaner material. You get a higher value for that. So we're just saying, close your eyes, walk in your sleep, throw it in the cart, and we'll sort it out from there. And that hasn't worked. I think that's tell us a lot right there that convenience itself is not the answer for people. I don't know what it is, but in Plano, you don't have to pay any extra for a recycling cart. I know at home we have 2 recycling carts, and when it's recycling every other week, they're full. So we're diverting about 50% of our stuff. The issue with that is recycling is fairly light. So when we calculate diversion rates, we're talking about weight. And so you're taking all that repurposing, all that recycling, all that landscape waste, and still we're not able to hit 40%. So the trash is just really heavy. The one thing going for us in Plano is that on the commercial side, we have very strong programs, and about 70% of our waste stream in Plano is commercial. That's massive. That's a massive opportunity.
Yeah.
We actually have more office space than Fort Worth, Texas. In Plano, Texas, we have
Gee.
Toyota, Liberty Mutual, J.P. Morgan,
See, I
Capital
gotta go to
One,
Texas.
J.C. Penney, on and on it goes. And so we need to think differently. We need to kind of catch up. I don't think we were fully prepared for the type of needs that our commercial space needs now. And we have some good foundational programs coming. Food waste is a big thing. I mean, as you guys know, these tamales are not lightweight, right?
No, they're not.
They're going to weigh us all down. So,
I still feel the spice in the bag.
A
Yes.
little bit.
so I'll be this week. We're going up to Albany, and on Friday I'm actually going to work. I'm going to take a little ride to Westboro, Massachusetts. Massachusetts has a mandatory food waste program for certain size generators, and I've been looking at a piece of equipment. They have 2 there. I'd like to look at for dedicated grocery waste, packaged grocery waste. Until we can start depackaging stuff, it's just we're not going to be able to move that needle too much as far as food waste. Because how many people are willing to scrape off that plate, and how much do you really get by that? You don't make a huge impact. It's something, right, for your backyard composter, maybe a worm bin composter or whatever. But to really make an impact, you have to address food waste where it's most concentrated at the source, and that's it. What's different here in New York is I love all the small delis and all the small markets. That presents more of a challenge, right? But for us, we have a lot of big Krogers, Tom Thumbs, or neighborhood Walmart, stuff like that. So if we can capture that stuff, and I'm talking about food that is no longer any good, we're also trying to shore up the donation side as well. We have some great partners in Plano we're working with. We have the first college for adults with disabilities, which is going to be located next to the North Texas Food Bank, which is relocating to Plano. They intend to dispose about 4,000 to 6,000 tons of food waste per year.
Jeez.
That's a lot of food waste, right?
Yeah.
But that the adults with disabilities, they need jobs, things that they can be trained to do, and so they're going to use that labor force walking across their easement there to help stock the food pantry and do things like that. So that comes first. What is composting? Well, Danny,
For those who don't understand,
Basics, like 101. What kinds of things are composted? What kinds of things aren't compostable?
I'm not a master composter, but some people tell me that's a silly term. You take some brown, you take some green, you mix it up, you add some water, you got some oxygen, you add some light. You do that long enough to anything in nature, it's gonna compost itself. And I'll give you a good example. At home, we have some bins where we put the leaves from the pool, and I tell you what, after 6 months, there's about 2 inches of compost at the bottom. There's worms down there. And how do they do that? How do those worms
how they
do
getting
that?
there?
I don't have. I use a
are
little
they
bit of
already
chlorine.
Like
just spawn?
microorganisms, like living, like I guess they're like many like microorganisms, like microorganisms living.
Microorganisms?
Yeah, microorganisms living, I guess, already on the leaves or whatever's in there, and they like come off of whatever, and then they eat whatever
Yeah.
breaks down. I don't know, man. I'm not a scientist here. I'm
But
guessing.
I'll take the opportunity though to give a plug to our Texas Pure products in Plano. We have a great quality compost. I've been using it for over 20 years. And back in the day, they were just giving it away because it wasn't. They were just they were finding out as they did this, how to make good compost, and it's come a long way now. Now it's an OMRI certified compost, which is an Organic Materials Research Institute compost. It's really good stuff. So if you're an organic gardener, you can use this stuff, and it's really good. So what's important about the compost is that all of our landscape waste in Plano goes into the compost site. Where the food waste becomes an integral part is it has a lot of nitrogen, and we need more nitrogen in our compost. It actually creates more microbial activity, gets those bugs and worms going, gets the piles nice and hot. But the GHG aspect of that is in a landfill setting, that food waste rotting actually emits methane. Methane's about 30 times worse than carbon dioxide.
Did you go to school to learn all of this, or was this just?
School of Hard Knocks in commercial waste and recycling. Yeah, so we've we're part of kind of interlocal agreement. So there's 5 cities: Plano, Frisco, Allen, Richardson, McKinney, and those 5 cities are required by city charter and law to deposit.
It's all in
tons.
Texas, right?
Well, it's just our little region. And so these 5 cities are required by law to deposit their tons at the North Texas Municipal Water District landfill. They also control our water system. So that's what's unique about waste is that people want to try to apply these broad strokes, mandates, and regulations, and it's pretty much impossible because cities are really going to be bound to their landfill contracts, and the contracts often define, they set out the definitions of what does recycling mean, and it'll say in there single stream plastics 1 through 7s, all these things. So until you really look at the landfill contract that the city's attached to, you really have to get around that before you start talking about mandates and bans and so forth. But back to the food waste thing, we're in a great situation. We have a lease at the landfill site for our compost operations, and those 5 cities I mentioned are all part of an interlocal agreement to give us their landscape trimmings. So it presents a great, opportunity for us to take the depackaging system, install it at the compost site, and take the residuals right next to the landfill. And single stream is just not that heavy, like I said, but food waste is. So if we can address that, we'll go a long way in Plano.
And when you say food waste, do you mean like commercial food waste? You mean like restaurants, essentially, like what they like goes in the garbage?
Yeah. So right now we have a food waste program. Been running it for 18 years, but it's been flat for so long because of the contamination requirements. It's pretty strict. We can't have any plastic, metals, glass, or styrofoam. And as you can imagine, at a restaurant, trying to train new people at a high turnover, it's just an inconvenient truth, as you say, right? It just doesn't work out for most people.
I mean, I've actually, until recently, a couple weeks ago, I did security for a corporation, and witnessing in the kitchen, man, even like in a party, man, like where this whole, I forgot, it was just something, a trivial reason, and an entire like spread of food got trashed right in the garbage. Like, and I witnessed that. Like, yo, is this for
It's
real?
like in the hotel business too. Huh? When hotels have kitchens inside, I've seen them trash entire platters and just everything
into the garbage.
And we know, since we have these carts that we use, anybody could come by and look in those carts and see it's pretty valuable stuff. I had some guys here from California, from UCLA, helping us out with a waste characterization at Toyota in Plano. And so they wanted to see our compost and see our food waste route. So I took them by one grocery store, and unfortunately there was some stuff in the bins. And the guy was like, wow, I would be here taking this stuff out of these carts. That's how good the food looked. So we have an issue with what our expectations are. I mean, a lot of our shopping is done with our eyes. We don't really want to take a chance on a banana that turns a little too brown. But for me, I think it tastes better like that.
So
Yeah, they say the browner, you don't want them black, but like bananas that are browning are closer to like that's when they're like really ripe though. Because if you get them like that super bright yellow, still kind of a little green, I feel they don't taste
Not as sweet, yeah.
Nah, they're not as sweet, man.
Now, you can always do what my wife does. She'll take them and put them in a pan and fry them up with some butter. So,
banana tricks.
I've never had that. I've had banana. You ever had banana wontons?
never heard of that.
Banana wontons.
Yeah, man. And it's like almost like like caramelized bananas with a little cinnamon, and you dip them in like a caramel sauce.
Does this sound like maybe like 3 a.m. trick or something?
No, man. I got it at a restaurant. I got it at a restaurant before.
Definitely.
Yeah, so but I would do an ad also about we have a green business program, and so it does address some of those things I talked about, and it gives people credit for doing stuff like switching from plastic straws to paper straws. There's things people can do.
Paper straws.
But
Paper straws, plastic to paper?
paper straws are out there.
I
yeah,
didn't
it's
even
a real
know
thing.
that was
And like you said, they're going to be edible straws pretty soon too. Be flavored straws in there.
made out of Twizzlers.
Yeah.
But
They're
I
gonna
saw
have a lot of Twizzler.
I saw a
They can make edible underwear. They can make edible.
they can.
But
Tamale flavored.
Yeah, with the spice in the back of the throat. In New York City, I heard this law was passed. I'm not sure how long ago it was that it was illegal to feed homeless people. And then you have legislation being passed where, I mean, I'm not sure what it is over here, but when you have composting and people, especially companies, need to throw away all this food, like, does one thing have to do with the other?
There's no law in Plano where actually restaurants are protected from that. I believe it's part of the Samaritan law. And I'm not really sure what it's called, but I know because we've had to ask these questions. It's totally fine if somebody wants to come and do that. Now, I will say in Plano, we do have some homelessness there, but it's not exorbitant like you find down in downtown Dallas and other cities. And it's, like I said, we're not trying to grow that program because we have some serious program concerns with, contamination requirements. So once it grows some, we're going to be moving to a front load collection. We'll actually have 4-yard aseptic type containers that are easier to clean. They will have a lock on them. They kind of will have to have a lock on there because you just don't want people taking expired. Now you're talking about raw chicken, things that are actually really bad. That's more of a public health issue right there. You don't want people eating that stuff. The stuff we have now is pretty edible, but that will change.
That's interesting.
But
That's crazy.
I mean, one of the things that I did read recently that I saw online, man, is how much like a city like New York uses in straws a year, man. These are plastic that don't ever break down, and just straws, man, it's like in the tons. Like
I can't imagine. I mean, and Plano's small, but we've been working with the school district there, and just, they have the ability to use those reusable plastic lunch trays, right? But they often don't because mysteriously, the dishwasher always breaks around lunchtime. so they buy over 1.5 million styrofoam lunch trays every year, even though they have dishwashers. So I can't imagine trying to scale that up to a New York model right there, right?
that's insane, man. But just those are little things, man, and it's like it's tough to even think about sometimes, man, because we're like I can say before I went to the Fresh Air Fund when I was younger, we didn't really have an appreciation for what it meant to, if you go out somewhere, take your trash out with you, not leave it. Because out here in the city, man, it's just, hey, leave it there. Somebody comes and cleans
throws
it.
everything
They just
everywhere.
chuck it there on the train tracks, chuck it in the street. And, like, as you, like, get older, you realize, like, yo, man, like, hey, we can pick this up. We can take this out with us. We burn all this trash in. Let's bag it up. Let's find somewhere, where it goes. And, but it's a thing a lot of people don't do, man, especially in the city, man. Like, if you see, like, I mean, let's be honest, man, the beaches out here are horrendous.
I think it's because and I want to say us in the East Coast, particularly New York, because I hear this a lot over here. There's this saying, when we throw something in the street, we say, oh, we're creating a job for somebody. Somebody has to go pick that up.
That's messed up.
And it's just a stupid way of thinking. And
It is.
It's backwards.
Both my boys are in Scouts, keeps them busy. I took them for a little hike. I think we hiked more at Central Park yesterday that we did on our Boy Scout hike. But
Central Park is huge.
Yeah.
yeah, there's a part of the Scout is the outdoor code, following the outdoor code about leaving things the way you found them, leaving nature untouched, clean. And as I took them on a walk, I realized how much that code is not being used 24/7, right? So really, as I told them, the outdoor code is how you should participate, with your trash, how you interact with nature at home, everywhere you go. That outdoor code isn't just for camping.
Yeah.
It's everywhere you go, because when we took that walk on the creek, we had the wettest February on record. So what do you think we saw out to the edges of the floodplain where the water line was?
It's just trash
Plastic,
water.
plastic and trash. It's disgusting. We have a nice creek by the house, which is kind of getting forgotten about. I mean, it's just right there, and it's beautiful, but it's full of trash. Just plastic bags everywhere.
I mean, we have a couple creeks in this area, but they're all contaminated with chemical and all types of waste, man. Where
It looks
a
like
mouthful,
antifreeze.
even man, what they're essentially purple, man. Like, let's see, there's Newtown Creek and there's like Greenpoint Creek, but if you go near any of them, man, like you smell, like you can, it's the like going over the Metropolitan Avenue Bridge over here. Like when you go over that bridge, the smell is just it's terrible. Like
Yeah.
it's like if the window's open in the
rotten.
summer, it's like, oh my God, roll it up. And if God forbid you get stuck there and that drawbridge is up, forget about it. Like you're gonna suffer for that 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you might get lightheaded. It's god awful.
See, me and Danny, I think he knows, when I grew up, I've always hated litter. He's always been the same way. But we used to use cans back in the day, right? Everybody had cans, so that's how I would generate some income. Would go out with my friends, pick up cans and sell cans. But I don't see that happening a whole lot anymore.
Yeah, because now you pay for that. Now when you go to the supermarket, they'll charge you like the can tax or the bottle
The
tax.
5-cent deposit, and that you only get that back by recycling. But I'm not gonna lie to you, my
They charge you
grandmother,
for that,
when we were younger, my grandmother used to take us out, and we would pick up bottles and cans to recycle, and she would split the money with us. She actually paid for our first trip throughout our youth. She did that. She always said, "I promised you our trip to Florida, and so I'm gonna pay." And she, throughout her youth, like we would go out with her until we got a little older and we had other stuff going on. But we went out with her a lot throughout our youth. Early in the mornings, she would and then we'd come home. She'd make us a good, nice lunch, breakfast, dinner. But we would go out early, couple hours, and just hit all the streets, man. Gloves on, bottles and cans. We knew which ones to sort. Go take them to the machine, get them in there, and then get the slip and go get the cash.
It was easier then because you had less stuff, and that's been one of the biggest challenges for processors is the thing called the evolving ton. And then part of that is we're relying on China, for the most part, to recycle a lot of our stuff, make a lot of our stuff. So, a good example that nothing against Keurig, but it is a good example of taking several different things and make it almost impossible to recycle. Now you got the plastic contaminated with coffee and a little foil top, right? And those things together like that cannot be recycled. That's going to change too. Amazon cardboard, the amount of cardboard ending up in these processing facilities. These processing facilities predate those products, and as the packaging keeps changing, we're kind of just throwing it at them and saying, "You guys handle this," and they can't always handle it. But they've already invested millions of dollars in their conveyors and the types of optical sorters they have. So it's tough for them to do. So, I would love to see some regulation on the packaging side. Like to see more collaboration from packaging industry and the processing facilities. They've got to get those stars lined up, because otherwise they're always going to be at a disadvantage.
Where are the trash dumps out here? Like, where do they take everything?
A lot of the dumps are they usually put it on barges and ferry it somewhere. There's a couple in Staten Island I know of. A lot of it's in Jersey though. Jersey.
I took a picture of one on Saturday. Yeah. I was at the top of the One World Trade Center, and I zoomed in and took a picture of a trash barge.
Yeah, see, a lot of it is trash barges.
They're close to the water, I assume. Because a lot of trash goes in the water, and
Nah, I mean the barges where they load it up is on the water, but a lot of them are I know one's, where is it? Fresh Kills is a big one, and there's another one somewhere, man. But a lot of it goes out of the city, man. A lot of it there's nowhere in the city for it to be.
there's this thing that I saw. I don't know if I saw it on Shark Tank or like a news clip or something, where these guys got together and they made these. It was like these drums that they would put in the water that would capture. It was like a suction cup for trash.
Catching that trash.
And they're collecting so much trash that's going into the water, and I can't believe how is that getting into the water.
It's insane, man. If there's island size just barges of trash floating in different sections of the ocean.
And there's so many ships, crossing from China, Japan over to the West Coast and wherever. I think until you involve the maritime industry in some capacity and find some way to capture that stuff, you're never going to catch up. I know there are probably going to be some fish that may die in the process, but I think the short-term benefit is just too big not to do something with maritime activity. They're crossing that water every day.
Yeah.
Why not pick up some of that
heavy
trash?
traffic. Heavy traffic produces pollution.
We all know why. It's about the dollar, right?
Yeah, it's about, they're not making money. Why would you do it? I'm not going to do it for free. What do I look like? I mean, I understand the business sense, but in the grand scheme of things, it affects us all. I mean, one of the big things I keep telling people, man, that no one monitors for me, that bothers me, the nuclear reactors in Japan that have been leaking since that
Fukushima?
Yeah, Fukushima, since that earthquake. And no one's paying attention to that. At some point, we are in this lifetime going to see the effects of that. And by the time people realize it, I think it's already too late.
Danny watched Deepwater Horizon last night, so it wasn't the same as Fukushima, but we have a lot of mini Fukushimas going on in this country right here, all the time. A lot of dumps, illegal spills, blowouts. It happens all the time. So environmentally, we've got to up our game a little bit here in the States, I would say.
Wasn't there a movie, Erin Brockovich, with Sandra Bullock, that it was a small town where
What
there
was
was
that called? Erin Brockovich.
I think that was the name.
Aaron Brockovich.
That's what it was called.
Aaron Brockovich.
Can't believe I just pulled it. Was that Sandra Bullock?
I think it's Julia
Julia
Roberts.
Roberts. Julia
That's
Roberts,
what I-
yeah.
man. Can't believe I just pulled out a Julia Roberts film from my hat.
That
But
was a
yeah.
pretty woman, man.
Yeah.
Kudos to you.
But but the premise of the movie was that she was an attorney or something like that, and she was going to a bunch of different families in this particular town that all were drinking water that had, like, it was a power factory leaking into the lake or something. And people started dying. But
Have you guys watched Flint on Netflix?
Flint?
No, I haven't
Nah.
watched that yet. The
That
new one that just
is
came out.
good.
Everyone's told me that's one that's really
Great
good.
docu-series on Flint, Michigan, and just they're saying, hey, the water's contaminated, but we've got much bigger problems. So they really get into the socioeconomic factors, the city kind of degrading, caving on itself, and the community's fight to win it back. It's a great docu-series.
Yeah, even I remember years ago Michael Moore touching on it a little bit because he's from Flint,
Yeah.
and he even brought it up, man. So Flint has it. A lot of people have said like it's great you guys are paying attention to our water, but we've had bigger problems for a longer time.
One of the best things we did was 2009. I was at a seminar and I was talking and I was asking people to commit to something. Just try one thing. And so I, on the spot, committed to not ever buying water bottles anymore. Just stop buying them. This is like, what did I just do?
It's tough.
And
Like
it was
I
tough.
try to hang on to mine and just keep refilling it with tap water, man.
I wasn't trying to guilt trip you there.
No, man. But that's what I tell people, man, because I
Successful.
think a lot of people think I'm cheap, which A, I am, but B, I
Successful
also
food
want to
trend.
help the environment because I drink a lot of water, and I know like if I just keep going to the store and keep buying these and just tossing them, like they're not going like to do anything. They're going in the trash.
Yeah.
So I do at least want to be conscious of the fact that A, if I drink enough water, I can just refill it because it is most likely tap water they're selling
yeah,
anyway.
but the bottled water industry is also corrupt because there was a
They
clip
charge
on-
you for fresh water. They charge you. I mean, they're taking people's water from lands to charge you for it.
There was
They've
a-
privatized
the
water
clip-
in some places.
The clip that was on World Star Hip Hop probably like 4 weeks ago, where they had people just taking bottles like this. They were printing up the labels themselves, wrapping the bottles. You see them like just putting the bottles under a tap, and then they heat the plastic up to make it look like it was a sealed package, and then they ship them out. Like,
See, that's another example where processors are really hurt because those bottles 10, 15 years ago were probably 3 times thicker than they are today. Sometimes you get a bottle right, it can barely even stand up. Right?
it
So
crumbles in on
and
itself.
that impacts how much money they can get. That takes more bottles to make a ton of plastic to sell. So another challenge there. What I did do at home though, a couple years ago, was we bought an RO system for the house, just a small little tank, and
Yeah,
reverse
system?
osmosis.
Reverse osmosis.
Yeah, so our water at home tastes as good or better than any bottled water we can buy, and it's all everybody loves the water. Comes to my house, all they want to do is drink water.
Man, now I wanna figure out what this is.
So reverse osmosis, according to Google Dictionary, is a process by which a solvent passes through a porous membrane in the direction opposite to that for natural osmosis when subjected to a hydrostatic pressure greater than the osmotic pressure. I'm going to need to research everything that I just
Definitely
read.
gonna. Let's see what we got from Wikipedia.
Our nose it
Wikipedia.
worked. And the smartest thing we did was we hooked up
It makes clean
the
water.
water line to the ice maker on the fridge because you could taste when that ice was being depleted from the refrigerator. But just, that's a small thing, but that's something a lot of people could do is just, we have the knockoff. We can't afford Yetis. Yetis are like $35 a pop for one glass. So we buy the knockoff Yetis from Walmart or wherever, and they work. So, we drink water all night. The kids love water. It's weird.
There was also this other thing where they were saying to not keep water bottles in your car because the car heats up
Yeah.
and then the plastic goes in the water.
Yeah, the bisphenol A is the issue there, and a lot of bottles can't do that. That's why I know some people will put their water bottles in the dishwasher, and that's not a good idea because it heats it up and it can actually leach that contaminant into that water.
Do you think the problem got worse when they made the bottles thinner?
I just don't know. Like I said, I haven't really drank in metal plastic since 2009.
So,
He's,
I mean, you probably
It's almost
taste the
10
difference
years.
in it, man. At work, that's how I survive, man. Some of those hot nights,
But
AC goes
yeah.
down in the building. Gotta
10
keep-
years clean.
When I walk
On
the creeks,
bottled
though,
water.
it's plastic bags and water bottles. And there's some new crazy trick now where these kids are finding a way to, it could be adults, I don't know, but they're finding a way to put some, I forget what it's called, but they're actually like little bombs. There's some stuff they can put in these bottles,
Oh,
and
man.
they get people to pick them up, and
I've
they'll
seen
actually
them on
explode.
YouTube. It's
Yeah.
just a little, it shakes a little bit, and then it just the expansion real fast.
The
and it
expansion
causes an
causes it to
explosion.
explode. Yeah. So I always tell
Like
my
a
kids
bomb
to,
bag?
Yeah, like a bomb bag almost times 10 times 20.
See, I think bomb bags were exclusive to like Brooklyn because when we talk about this, other people have no idea. They used to sell these bags, they called them bomb bags, and they were small aluminum squares, and they were made so that you could squeeze it. It was like a
Yeah,
vinegar and
like
baking soda
it's about the
inside.
same thing. Like you just break the little seal, and you could feel like the pebbles and whatever was the I guess the liquid was in there. Break it, that being compact in a seal like that, toss it, and it caused an
And
explosion.
yeah.
They were called bomb bags.
and they sold this to kids.
Sold it to kids in Brooklyn.
Right here.
I want to say it was like I want to say the 5 boroughs. I want to say it was almost exclusive to like the 5 boroughs because I don't remember seeing those anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like
The
they
bomb
were.
bags that was a hood thing.
But kids now are making their own bomb bags using like they're filling this and like they're having something. You pick it up and it'll just disturb it and you have about 3-4 seconds before
That's messed
it'll
up.
blow one of your fingers off if you're unlucky enough.
So I brought this for Danny's wife. I've had this shirt for, I don't know, almost 15
Dumpster
years.
diving
15
team.
years.
That's nice.
It's just too small for me, so I thought, well, I'll just
Pick
lose
it
weight.
up a little more. So it
Let's
shows
get that
up
on
the
camera. Let's raise that a little higher.
There it is.
Dumpster
The
diving.
dumpster diving
So I thought
team.
I'd hold on to it until I lost some weight. I don't see it happening.
Man.
It's because you stopped
I
bottled
know
water.
we shrink over time, so maybe when I'm 80, it'll fit me.
You got a long way to go, bro. You look
Danny's
like a
making
strong
tamales.
35.
It's not gonna happen.
Healthy tamales. We never even ordered our drinks during this show.
We didn't, man. We didn't put in drink orders today. Oh
I
man.
want an iced coffee.
Could I go mocha with a little bit of extra chocolate? We're out of mocha? Oh,
He's got to make a fresh batch.
so good.
Look at the
Yeah,
disappointment
let me
in
can I
his
get a
face.
caramel latte? We need a little bit of extra caramel drizzle, please, sir. Thank you. Please and thank you, sir. Very kindly.
Is that because my kids couldn't find the right store?
No.
Not at all. Here at 219 Central Avenue. Oh, that's a nice
Oh
shot.
man, look at that shot.
That's a
Shout out
very
to
nice
Maddie
shot.
in the back. Look at that shot.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get a live hand clap going.
Oh, look
That
at
is an
Look
amazing
at that.
shot.
That's fine work right there.
Look at that.
I like how the screen looks.
Good
too.
camera work
Shit.
back there, Maddie. That was
Here
an
at the-
amazing shot.
The Mocha Cabana.
The Mocha Cabana. That's good.
That's Danny. That sounds like that should be like a one of your craft drinks right there. The Mocha Cabana.
Mocha
That
Cabana.
sounds like a craft drink right there. Name at the Mocha Cabana.
Throw a little sauce in it.
Coffee and dancing. There we go.
Brenda
See?
came in here.
We're about to make some music. Somebody give me some cowbell, huh? Can I get some cowbell while we're doing that? Let me get some. Can I get some more cowbell?
I got a fever. The cure's more cowbell.
Oh wait, is it gonna start? But
So we have to become more conscious of the things that we throw out.
We
I think
do.
I have a lot of
Yeah,
bad
it's-
habits from living in the projects. That
We do
just-
have a lot of bad habits. Bad habits from living in New York City, man. And if you don't live in a private residence because I do know New Yorkers who recycle like Falco at their place. They have it. My buddy, he lives in Queens. They own their own place. They have to recycle. They have the separate paper, plastics, garbage, and like they have to go through it every time we come out. If we've been drinking that night, like we're like, hey, which ones are these going again? It's like glasses here. It's like where we putting all this plastic, all these pizza boxes, where they going? Like. And we have to like dump them in the right ones.
It's tough, but I have to say I was impressed. We were at Hell's Kitchen, a place called Chelsea Street Market, I guess. And first thing I do when I see kind of public recycling bins like that is go see how contaminated they are. And it was actually pretty clean. And we cannot achieve that in our own community. It just doesn't happen. Like I said, commercially, we're 70% of the waste stream. And I mentioned the amount of growth we've had over the past 38 years. And so what's come with that is it's different. My wife's in planning and zoning in Plano, but she'll appreciate this. Always kind of points her, what are y'all doing? Why didn't you plan for this? Well, they couldn't really plan for single stream recycling in 1970. It didn't exist. Their plan at the time was to landfill everything, right?
Yeah.
And so they built these enclosures, and then they made different regulations for screening requirements of these enclosures, and it changes over time. So depending on when you built your business, you're held to a different set of regulations. So what we have is a city that's very fragmented as far as the accessibility to recycling programs. And I'm not sure how we get around that. People have to have an enclosure for it. So who's going to pay for that now? It was cheaper.
Yeah.
It was cheaper to build it at the time you built the building. So we're working on some of those regulations. I think next month we'll have some new requirements for new business. The challenge we face is 98% of the city has been built. So,
But I mean,
development.
one of the new things, with a lot of buildings, a lot of them are trying to build them so that they're a lot more efficient and green, like in a sense. That is a start. Is that like one of the things going on too? Like over there to get into it, like you have to be like regulations like that, like.
We're just not. It's Texas, right? So it's real tough for us. That we've been fortunate enough to have a past director who was our former sustainability director. She was a visionary. She set up the composting operations in the 90s. She set up the curbside recycling program and then going to automated back in 2000, which means just a single stream cart, whatever. And so we kind of have some stuff that's very important, very integral to a successful program already in place. So fortunately, even though our climate politically right now wouldn't support, if this was all new, there wouldn't be any support for it. So thank God we have it.
Is this a paper straw?
Let me see that thing. I believe it is.
Holy.
Where did you find? You just found this just now?
No, we have paper, we have compostable straws.
Oh,
I
Got
didn't know
paper
that.
straws.
well, that's great. And Danny, are you going to compost these straws?
I'm not, but I hope whoever picks up our recycling does.
No, that's a good point because they always ask me, well, why should I buy compostable or this stuff or that if I'm not going to recycle it or compost it? Well, it's all about the unit price. You're bringing the unit price down, and that's good for people who are going to compost it. They're more likely to buy it if it's more affordable. But back to, I want to mention this about, kind of how recycling looks and how people have access to it and the success of it. Man, the corporations, they have a difficult time, and these are people that are, have bachelor's degrees, PhDs, what have you, and I hear all the time that it's too difficult. I'm like, that's where I think the corporate leadership's got to change. The structure needs to come down and say, this is a cost to us. This is a line item for our organization. This is something we value and we believe in. And as an employee of X, we expect you to do these things.
I think the problem is that with culture today and people, I guess, chasing careers, the higher up in the career ladder you go, the less work you're expecting to do. And I think once people get in that position that they...
Did you hear that, honey?
And it's true. It's like, well, if you're going to be the CEO, you're probably going to be playing, little golf in your office and doing push-ups and, meditating.
Is that where you've been on Monday nights?
And golf in your office, working on your
that
your
seems to
back
be
nine?
the corporate culture out here. Once someone gets in a position of power, they just kind of delegate responsibility to everyone else, and they don't care enough because they still have their 6-figure salary, 7-figure salary.
Yeah, I'd say overall I feel like we're in a dangerous place as far as sustainability and what does that really mean? Is it becoming hip and cool? Is it kind of something is it a fad?
Yeah, I want to know, man, because I will say, like, I see it feels like it's only gotten better, like around here as gentrification's increased. Like that, I feel like it's caused people to want to start paying attention now in this area more. Like I told Danny and like Alex, they like recently I remember reading about the New York City sanitation starting the compost program for people wanting to have a little brown, like a different garbage can. Just put it composted in, the city comes and takes it. Um,
In the
and
ground, right?
Huh?
The ones on the floor, in the floor.
No, they just have like if you look around, like next time we're walking, I'll try to see something I could point out to you. But it's just like the regular brown, like a smaller brown garbage cans, like around the regular garbages. Those are like the compost ones, and like the city
My
comes and
brother,
picks
they
them up.
forced my brother to have that in his house.
They forced them.
Yeah,
Damn,
I remember that.
thought it was optional.
Nah.
I think it's a good thing. It's just
It is.
It's just it's in our face every day. The products we buy, the food we buy. There's a lot of shaming going on for people that do eat meat, and I, for one, eat meat. I do try to be selective about what type of meat, and as I'm older, I can't eat meat all the time, which is okay. But I think some of that needs to stop about shaming people if they're not buying organic, if they're eating fish, or Danny's shaming me now for eating too much fish. Too much mercury in the fish, right?
I think there's the shaming culture.
I mean,
They shame people for everything now, though.
I shame people for trying to. You know a term I saw on Facebook the other day, and I know it would have caused a great argument, and I didn't start it. I saw the term vegan bacon,
Vegan
and I
bacon.
feel like the two just shouldn't even be
That's
in
an
the same
oxymoron,
sentence.
right? It's an oxymoron.
It's
Maybe
crazy.
if there's a period in between, like I used to eat bacon, period. I no longer eat bacon because I am a vegan. That is the only way I feel like those two words should be in a sentence
And what's
together.
turkey bacon? People say it like it's a healthy option. I don't agree with that. Most doctors I've talked to said that's not a healthy alternative.
It's the only bacon you can cook in 30 seconds in the microwave. Like it was disgusting. It came out like slime too.
I can't. I don't do, man. If
See,
I'm-
I shame Danny for
I
that
did
contraption.
turkey
That
bacon.
tamale contraption he has. I don't know what that is.
This is where he makes Frankenstein.
Yeah, they tell you what though, the flavor, Danny, is excellent. Great tamales.
Yes, man. That was spicy, man. You didn't finish yours. What's going on, man?
Come on, I'm live on the air right now.
Too spicy for you, man?
I'm trying to balance it out with the iced coffee. But where can people go and see what you're doing? Where can they find you? Where can they learn about the process?
Plano.gov. They can go to our site. Just look for trash and recycling, commercial waste. That's kind of our space on the website, which is always being updated. The technology has changed, right? Because it's just constant evolutionary process of updates.
That's how it is with tech, especially with tech. Every day there's a new update.
Yes, constantly on everything. No matter what app on your phone, like anything. It seems like every day my phone's updating something different. Like it
I was
doesn't
talking
matter.
about when
no
Apple
matter
got in
what.
trouble for that because they kept
Yeah.
forcing
They were.
upgrades on everybody's phones and outdating all the software.
Yeah, man. It's
But
insane.
yeah,
that they even did that.
Plano.gov.
Yes, man. And if you had to tell people anything to do, like it's easy to do one simple thing. Like you said, you're more conscious about the fact that you don't buy plastic anymore. Since 2009, I mean, I tried not to buy them as often and reuse the ones that I do, man. It's not easy, but it's a bit easier when you try, man. And I think this is something that affects everyone. If you care about your future generations, kids, any nieces and nephews you have. I think
Yeah.
we've seen global warming. While we're here, what's your take on global warming?
Well, I think it's happening. I don't have any doubt about that. And for us, it's a very sensitive thing because of where we live. It turns into a political, argument, and I just think there's no room for that when you're talking about that. We don't. And the good thing for us is we don't have to use it as leverage because the economics are there for us to tell a business you can save money. We don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. We don't care. It has nothing to do with them saving money. But for me, the bigger thing is we can do things better. Do we have to get stuck on that argument of who's to blame when the real question should be how efficient can we use our resources?
Doing things better, being better.
Yeah, just looking at and you see that happening in the marketplace anyway. It's people are just really pushing the envelope with seeing how efficient they can become with electric cars and with products being more sustainable and more durable. So it's happening anyway. That's how people should buy things is really don't get caught up in all the organic or this and that. But durability to me is a huge deal. Whether if it's made somewhere else, make sure that it's durable and it's going to last. It's going to be one of the last ones you ever buy of whatever it is.
Facts.
Yes.
And there's this
And
thing.
I love things I don't have to keep repurchasing, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why some of these things are dumb expensive, and we complain about it, but when we buy it, it lasts us 25, 30 years.
Yes.
I know it's funny, but I know when we've actually made tamales at home, we'll reuse the tamale husk. I'm serious. You just go, you go rinse it off and use it again. You don't eat it, so.
I think behavior is contagious. And I think a lot of the problems that stem from when people start having these discussions is that they start speaking in terms of we instead of I. You need to individually start doing things so that other people can pay attention to what you're doing.
You know what, though? What you said, behavior is contagious. I'm not going to lie to you. If there were, like, celebrities made, like, recycling cool, if, like, Drake was on Snapchat, Instagram, Rihanna, Bieber, and company, like, yo, man, gotta recycle, man. Gotta get these plastics, papers sorted, man. Make sure you do what you gotta do, save the environment. Do you know how fast the young generation would be on recycling? And thank you very much. Thank you, Danny, sir. Thank you. Do you know how fast the younger generation would be, like, on recycling? Like, it was the coolest, like thing ever to happen in the world. Like,
But that's the culture we live in. We live in an entertainment-based culture. Even the president was a celebrity before he was a president. So,
Which I find hard to believe. But
many people, believe that's why he won, because he was a celebrity. Now you look at 2020.
let's not lie.
when we talk
Obama was
about-
a celebrity while he was a president.
He was. But he wasn't. He didn't have TV shows and
Oh, no, that's
and
coming down.
products.
That's coming down.
Now he got a network deal with Netflix.
Yeah, is that true? I just saw something about that. Like,
Him and
Obama.
Michelle have a network deal with Netflix. They're coming out with a show, and
I saw that.
such a celebrity-based
I saw
culture.
that, but I don't know. I try not to hear my kids, hear me speak in a derogatory way about our president, but it's been a real big challenge.
It's like
I fail miserably
Censorship.
almost every day on this.
it's like you have to walk
subject.
around with FCC regulation.
It's
hat
like
on.
I try to avoid talking to people too much about it, man. Everyone, it's a hot button issue, man. And everyone, I think one of the big problems is in this country, and I tell people, is no one can respect someone else having a different point of view. Like I accept that people voted for him. That a lot of people didn't vote for him behind those views. People voted for him for other reasons. They believed in other stuff, like economic reasons. And I don't hold anyone like you thought of it. I think we're all sitting here watching it, and you have to think to yourself. I mean, we're here, man. We can't want to vote for the guy piloting our plane to crash, but he's definitely brought us down underneath the flight deck a couple times, if I'm not lying, man.
And it's interesting. The social media everybody has a voice now. And that can be a good thing, but a lot of
Could
people
also be
a lot
a
of
very,
people-
very bad
people-
thing.
It's a lot of responsibility. A lot of people actually losing their livelihoods, losing their jobs, and
Yeah.
losing their reputations.
Saying crazy.
And really the next day they're already forgotten about what they
Yep.
did wrong. It's old news. It happened yesterday, but it cost them everything.
It's a sad fact, and that's why a lot of these celebrities, while they do have the reach to go out on Instagram and put a video of them recycling, they're so afraid to go into that segment of culture. They don't want to go into politics and livelihoods. They rather just stay.
But a
a
lot of them
celebrity.
preach, work for PETA. A lot of them preach, a lot of them that are vegan or, vegetarian. A lot of them talk about that, preach some of that. So if you're going to go there, man, a lot of people who feel like holistic living, there's celebrities that, talk that. If you're going to do that, man, might as well talk recycling and stuff, man. It's not
but a lot of
that far of a
celebrities-
step.
Celebrities
my
have
mind.
have their Shauna, their PR person.
Fair enough.
They're-
You're 100% right.
Their PR agent that tells them, "Yo, don't talk about that today. Yeah, you're gonna do the PETA thing. Yeah, we'll put out a press release. We'll get it on a few blogs, but don't go on Instagram thinking you're gonna start getting people to recycle. Because if your fans turn against you, then you don't have any celebrity."
I don't know,
left.
man. If your fans turn against you for wanting to recycle and better the environment, did you do something wrong? You have to ask yourself that. If I say something about recycling and people go crazy, what did I do wrong? Are you wrong there? So, I mean,
But you know the culture. Already.
the culture, yeah, the culture's cash, man. Cash is king. So if you want to keep making that, man, definitely keep your mouth shut.
You need to just play the game.
I think if people are out, if you live in a community, be aware of what the opportunities are for those businesses, and ask the questions when you go in there. Hey, do you have a real glass? Do I have to use disposable item you give me. Ask them those questions. There's a place in Plano that I don't even visit because they sell so much stuff in disposable ware when they know you're going to eat right there in front of them. And so I just don't go there because it's a huge bag of trash every time you go.
Yeah. One of my buddy's dad used to be a regional president for a restaurant company, and he told me about how they were making budget decisions, and they made a decision to switch from regular disposable chopsticks to reusable, which they just take. They were thick plastic, toss them in the dishwasher, steam, wash, and reuse them again. And he's like, in doing that, we saved almost $1 million across the company. Like the first year we did that, just because we weren't buying these and throwing them away anymore, because they go in the garbage. People take them. Like, just now we have recycle them. I mean, get them, use them, wash them, toss them in the dishwasher, steam them, then right back out.
Yeah, my wife's brother is actually in the Air Force, and he brought us some nice reusable ones from Japan. But I also have some stainless steel chopsticks on my desk.
Woo. You got that Bruce collection. You got that straight connection. And you said the website again was?
It's plano.gov.
Plano.gov.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's our city's website. And that's the one thing good about working for the government is we got to be really careful what we put on social media. So I don't say I'm not going to get myself in trouble.
Very careful. I mean, I think everyone needs to just practice that in regular life, is to be careful with what you say on social media. Because I see people say some wild, outlandish things on social media, man.
And the other thing is,
they can be traced back 10 years.
You got so many friends on there. By the time I think about which ones it's going to offend, I just don't even post it.
You just check your friends.
Like, I always want to say stuff, and then I'm like, man.
Just check your friends list. It's going to keep shrinking.
Like, I'll tell you how crazy it was, that how easily people get offended. We both grew up in the area, went to school our whole 12 years out here. Throughout our 12 years for me, it was from 93 to 2012, 2015. What am I saying? 2012. 2015. 2005 is when I graduated. And we had like 3 snow days, all of them in elementary school. With these last couple of snowstorms out here the last few years, they've been giving kids like snow days more increasingly. And I'm like, since I've graduated high school, kids have had about 7, 8 snow days. And like, I've seen some of these days, and it's like, yo, we went to school in that weather.
We used to play in that weather.
Yeah, we were outside running around, ripping and running. What? Kids aren't even out there in the snow anymore, really. But I said online, I'm like, yo, man, like, this is why, like, I was like, these kids are getting soft, man. It's like they can't go outside in a little bit of weather. I was like, we went to school in this. And so many people jumped down my throat. It's like, it's safety concerns, this and that. It's like, first off, most of these kids walk, okay? Most of these kids walk to their zone school.
Yeah, it's right
Second
across the street.
A lot of kids take mass transit, which runs underground for a lot of them. Take the bus or train that runs outside.
Even the bus was still running.
A lot of the buses were still running. Like, here's my rule. If the MTA doesn't shut down, let's go. Like, and it's like everybody, but everyone jumped down my throat, man. I was like, wow. Like,
we live in a culture where everyone is offended now.
Everyone wants to be offended. It has to be. And it was just like everybody just came at me.
They're all offended, and it seems like we want to vilify the youth today. And I don't understand that. The kids didn't design this AI. They didn't smartphones. It came from another generation, and why do we have to blame people? And I think that's something I don't like hearing today, about our kids being vilified about, instant gratification. There's a lot of labels we're applying to people these days that it says more about the person who's saying it, I think.
Well, I think this was a fantastic show. We're already almost 10 minutes over, but I said we was going to go over.
We did.
I said we was going to go over, but ladies and
good
gentlemen.
Good conversation. That's what happens in the middle of good conversation.
Tamale Slaughter's band.
Chris Day, the man with the famous name.
Yes.
We're gonna keep track with you.
Tomorrow is Chaz.
Yes. We got Chaz from Trill Tea coming on tomorrow.
Yes,
of course.
Tomorrow I will be trying maca tea. Did I say that?
Matcha.
I say maca again. Matcha tea. I'm sorry.
And then this Friday we have Maritza Davila coming on.
Next Friday. No, it's this Friday, right?
It's this
no,
Friday.
Next Friday, 16th. Oh no, that's this
Today
Friday. That is this
12th.
Friday. Wow, it's this week.
So yeah.
Yes.
And then we had one more guest book for this week. It's
we
on the
do.
calendar.
Yes.
It's Marco Pave.
Yes.
I think that's his last name, Marco Pave or Marco Pave. If he's Spanish, he's gonna be with us on the 15th.
I guess that's when we're gonna get corrected on, man. But where can the folks follow you at?
They can follow me at I'm King Roach. They can follow us both at Bud and Roach Show.
And of course, you can follow First Live at First Live US. If you're in the area, be sure to stop by 219 Central Avenue. Bushwick, Brooklyn, New York, 11221, and come and enjoy one of these hot or iced caffeinated beverages, one of these fantastic teas, now carrying maca tea. Of course, a bunch of other matcha. I just said maca again, didn't I? Matcha tea. I'll get it right eventually, man.
When you
A bunch of
taste
other
it.
teas. And of course, if you are in the area and you want to enjoy Beer Clock, there's no judgment about what time it starts for you.
Judgment-free zone.
Yes, come get one of these fantastic handcrafted beverages. And of course, you can follow me at Mr. Zotaylor, Mr._Zotaylor. And we'll see you the same time, same place tomorrow, guys.
We'll be back tomorrow.
Yes.
For another fantastic episode. Good
Yes,
morning,
sir.
Bushwick. Cheers, everybody. All right.
The realness, realness. Got you stuck on the realness, realness.